Home, the North Chapel on Highway 21 in Sylacauga, and the Childersburg Chapel on Highway 280 in Childersburg. For pre-need funerals, burials, or cremation since 1975, Curtis & Son Funeral Home, Sylacauga, Childersburg. In obituary news this morning, Doyle Cook, age 91, died October 7th at Coosa Valley Medical Center. Community Funeral Home in Sylacauga, in charge of the arrangements. Linda Cleveland died this morning. Curtis & Son Funeral Home, North Chapel will announce the arrangements. Funeral service for Angela Fallon will be today at Curtis & Son North, with burial in the Evergreen Cemetery. Curtis & Son Funeral Home, North Chapel, directing. Memorial service for Mr. Charles Holman will be Sunday at Curtis & Son North. That memorial service at 2 o'clock. Curtis & Son Funeral Home in charge of the arrangements. Homegoing celebration remembering the life of Mrs. Luann Hall, age 60, of Talladega, will be Saturday at 1 o'clock from S.M. Goodson Funeral Home Chapel, with interment in the Talladega Memorial Gardens. Public viewing for Miss Hall will be today 2 to 7 at the funeral home, S.M. Goodson Funeral Home, Talladega, directing. Homegoing celebration remembering the life of Mr. Leroy Hill, age 71, of Talladega, will also be Saturday at 3 o'clock from S.M. Goodson Funeral Home Chapel, with interment in the Lane Chapel Church Cemetery. Public viewing for Mr. Hill is today 2 to 7 at the funeral home, S.M. Goodson Funeral Home, directing. Celebration of life for Mrs. Nokia Leach, age 68, will be Saturday at 11 a.m. from Community Funeral Home Chapel in Sylacauga, with interment in the Lily Roden Enon Baptist Church Cemetery of Childersburg. Visitation will be Saturday 10 until 11 o'clock at the funeral home. Mask required for all attending these services. Community Funeral Home, Sylacauga, directing. Homegoing celebration remembering the life of Mr. Alfonso Swain, age 61, of Talladega, is Saturday at 10:30 a.m. from Antioch Church Cemetery, with the Reverend Matthew Leonard officiating. Public viewing for Mr. Swain today, 2 to 7 at the funeral home, S.M. Goodson Funeral Home, Talladega, directing. Celebration of life for Mr. Robert Edward Sonny Swain, age 79, will be Saturday at 1 o'clock from Community Funeral Home Chapel in Sylacauga, with the Reverend Curtis Seals officiating. Interment in the Tallahatchie Missionary Baptist Church Cemetery in Childersburg. Visitation today 1 until 7 at the funeral home. Mask is required for all attending these services. Community Funeral Home, Sylacauga, directing. Graveside service for Michelle Elizabeth Lee Blankenship is today at 12:30 from Queen of Angels Cemetery in Winter Park, Florida. The family will receive friends today at Newcomer Funeral Home in Winter Haven, Florida, from 11 o'clock until 12:15 today. Armour's Memorial Funeral Home handling the local arrangements out of Alexander City. Memorial service for Mr. O.C. Lewis Phillips Williams, age 65, of Goodwater, is 11 o'clock Saturday morning at St. John AME Church in Goodwater. Armour's Memorial Funeral Home, directing. Mr. Donnell Stevens of Alexander City died October 3rd. Graveside service is Saturday at 11 o'clock from Bethel Memorial Garden in Ashland. There will be no public viewing. Final arrangements entrusted to Armour's Memorial Funeral Home. Funeral service for Mark White, age 56, of Sylacauga, Saturday at 1 o'clock from the Chapel of Radley Smith Funeral Home, Brother David Vick officiating. Burial in the Fayetteville Memorial Cemetery. Mr. White died October 4th at Coosa Valley Medical Center. Visitation tonight, 5 till 8 o'clock at the funeral home. Radley Smith Funeral Home, Sylacauga, directing. Mark was a member of the Fayetteville Volunteer Fire Department for some 26 years, where he served as captain and had many friends, young and old. Radley Smith Funeral Home, directing. Memorial service for Mr. Charles Strickland, age 71, is Saturday at 2 from the Chapel of Radley Funeral Home. Brother Wayne Cowhick officiating. Mr. Strickland died October 3rd at Baptist Medical Center South in Montgomery. Radney Funeral Home directing. And other obituary news this morning. Mrs. Harriet Jackson of Sylacauga died October the 4th. Visitation Saturday from 2 till 7 at Grace Memorial Chapel Funeral Home in Sylacauga. Celebration of Life service on Sunday at 2 o'clock from New Hope Missionary Baptist Church, the Family Life Center. Interment in the New Hope Missionary Baptist Church Cemetery. Grace Memorial Chapel Funeral Home in Sylacauga in charge of the arrangements. This obituary report this morning, courtesy of Curtis and Son Funeral Home, the North Chapel on Highway 21 in Sylacauga, and the Childersburg Chapel on Highway 280 in Childersburg for pre-need funerals, burials, or cremation since 1975. Curtis and Son Funeral Home, Sylacauga, Childersburg. Call 256-245-4361.